Hi, I'm Callie. Welcome to Kapowski Reads. I am off work today and I have decided that all I want to do today is read. And if I stay in the house, I'm going to get distracted by things that need to be done, like laundry, dishes, all of the really boring things, and I won't truly enjoy my day off. I thought, why not make this a cafe crawl where I go to a cafe, I read a bit, I go to another cafe, I read a bit. Maybe I go to 3 cafes and I read a bit. I'm going to show you the books I'm taking with me. I don't know if I'll get through them both. If I don't finish them today, I might finish them this evening or tomorrow. Either way, this vlog will end with wrap-ups for both of these books. I'm partway through a poetry collection. This is called Blood Songs. It's by a local poet, May Diane Sangu. I'm a little bit of the way through it and I'm really enjoying it. And it was dedicated to one of the local libraries in Aberdeen, which I thought was just delightful. And the other book I'm taking with me is Heads Will Roll by Josh Winning. I read my second Josh Winning book in Winterween, Burn the Negative. I loved it and I instantly wanted to read another book by him, and I had this on my shelf, so why not pick up a little slasher? This is the plan. The plan is that I'm going to have B-roll of the cafes and I'll voice over. I'm going to read. I'm going to maybe get a pastry. I actually really want a croissant and a cheese scone. I want both of those things. I'm going to try and get both of those things. I haven't eaten yet. I'm quite hungry and the first cafe is a bit of a walk away. So I'm definitely getting something to eat. This sounds like it's going to be a delightful day, so you can come with me and we'll both have a delightful day. I am back. The sun is getting ready to set, so that just tells you how long I have been out. I have many, many updates. I'm going to tell you about the cafes, then I'm going to tell you about the books. That seems like that makes the most sense. I'm also it's windy outside. My hair is a mess. We're going with what we have. So, I went to 3 cafes. First up was the Liberty Kitchen. This cafe is the whole reason for this video, because this is a new cafe. I hadn't had a chance to go yet, and from what I've heard, it's super busy at the weekend and it's only open 10 to 4 during the week. I cannot get there during the week. So that was my first spot. I got a cheese scone. Amazing. It's all I've wanted for the last maybe 2 weeks was a cheese scone. So I'm delighted. It was delicious and it's such a cute cafe and it looks over the park. It's gorgeous. I was feeling a bit confident, a little bit cocky maybe, because it was so quiet when I got there that I put my camera out and I got a little bit of B-roll of me reading, which felt very performative. I literally just took about 30 seconds to take little bits of B-roll and then I was like, it is me and the book and the coffee. Nothing else exists. It got a bit busier and I did do some good reading though. I started Heads Will Roll by Josh Winning and I realised instantly, yes, I want to read this. It is a slasher. It is a camp, not a summer camp. It's a camp basically for people who have been cancelled. And when you're at the camp, you assume a fake identity. So, not fake identity, but you use a different name. And everyone's anonymous, which is wonderful because you can all kind of do your healing. However, it does mean that you don't know who you can trust because you don't know anybody. Like, if you're using a fake name, that's just the beginning of the secrets. And one by one, the campmates are going missing. And heads are going to roll. There is a camp legend about Knock Knock Nancy, who was a woman who was beheaded with an axe. And there are various stories surrounding her demise. And legend says that she haunts the camp looking for revenge. And oh, it's so good. I love a secluded setting slasher. It's what I love. Our main character is called Willow. She reminds me a little bit of almost like a Dove Cameron, Hilary Duff kind of hybrid character, in that she was a young actor and really struggled to be seen as not the sweet and innocent candy floss cutesy character that she was known and loved for being. That sort of character arc of people don't want to see the real you when they have decided that you are basically Lizzie McGuire. You don't get to grow up. So I really like her. She did something, and I have found out what she did, but she did something on Twitter and she got cancelled. Does the punishment fit the crime? I think not, when we find out what she did and what the intention was behind it, and that her camp were making sure that she didn't explain herself. I feel that had she been able to explain herself, then of course she upset people. You have to apologise, even if you don't mean to hurt people. If you hurt people, you have to say sorry. You have to mean it. And I feel that she does mean her apology, but she was never able to give it. And she's also going through a whole lot of stuff, and I really like her as a character, and I really like all of the campmates, and turns out I am just telling you about the books as I go. That wasn't the plan. I've only got 100 or so pages left. We also have a gaggle of other campmates, and I was trusting them all, but I'm an idiot because I shouldn't trust everybody that I meet. And we have BB, who is running the camp, and she is a liar. She has said multiple things and then been proven to be a liar the whole time. She has a sister who's living nearby on the camp grounds. I want to trust her because I feel I shouldn't trust her, which makes me think I should trust her. I'm so invested. People are going missing. People are getting their heads chopped off. There are doll heads appearing everywhere. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know who's going to make it out. I have just finished the book on an absolute bombshell of a plot reveal. Personally, I don't know how I'm going to move on from this. I don't know how the characters are going to move on from it. I'm not really involved. But I am very invested. This is the third book I have read by Josh Winning. And do you know what? He just writes characters in a way that I love. It is super fast paced and I'm having a great time. I do intend to finish this book maybe this evening. If not this evening, tomorrow morning / during my lunch break. So final thoughts and feelings on this will come. I'll film them tomorrow. I then took a walk. I was going to another cafe, but I had just had a scone. I had to have a little bit of a walk. So I went for a bit of a walk through the park that the Liberty Kitchen looks over, and it was so pretty. I never fail to be impressed by the fact that you can see the sea from the park. And then I went properly into Old Aberdeen and I went to Shelter Coffee and I got a coffee and I got a Millionaire shortbread. I did not need the Millionaire shortbread, but I always kind of feel if I'm going to sit and I'm going to read in a cafe, I want to patronise the cafe and actually buy more than just a coffee. I want to pay my toll. It was so nice. I haven't had a Millionaire shortbread in I don't even know how long. Then took a bit of a change with my books and I decided I was going to finish my poetry collection, which is Blood Songs. I didn't have that much left of this book. I only maybe had like 35 to 40 pages. It's not long. It's only about maybe 85 pages long, but it was beautiful. This poetry collection, I'm actually just going to use the author's words because she's better with words than I am. Blood Songs is an ode to matters of the blood, queer carnality, black rage, the crude power of myth, how history is felt in the body. It had poems that referenced mythology and biblical stories and Scottish history, and it was incredibly powerful, and I utterly embarrassed myself in the cafe because I started crying. Because I just got so caught up in my feelings, and it wasn't just the silent little, a little trickle of a tear. No, it was one of those moments where I'm sat reading my poetry, wearing my beret with my black coffee. I was a turtleneck away from being an utter cliche, and then I just went and started crying. I was mortified. At this point, the cafe was a bit busier and I didn't want to take my camera out and film myself using like a proper camera. I felt so, I don't know, I felt really self-conscious. I do not film myself often outside of the house. Usually just get various angles of my house. But this collection is so good. It is so thought-provoking. It is gonna stick with me. And I love that it's by a local author. And I just love thinking, like, am I sitting reading this somewhere where she like thought about this collection? Has she been here? Maybe. I don't know. But I just really liked it. And it's such an underrated book. I believe I found it because it was, well, one, a local author, and two, I believe she was nominated for a prize. That's where I found out local author, and I was like, yoink, buying that. And I did. And I have no regrets. It was so good. Maybe I'm getting into poetry again. I don't know. I haven't really read a lot of poetry since I was a teenager. But every so often I pick up a poetry collection and I'm like, I love poems. I love this. Even though I embarrassed myself by crying in a cafe that was quite busy. And yeah. Oh, the shame. And then I went for another bit of a walk. You know, had to have my eyes dry. I went for a little walk around Old Aberdeen, mainly about the university, because I had one cafe left and I wanted to go to Killow Cafe, which is one of my favourite cafes before. If you've ever heard me talk about the crepe, it's that cafe. So I went and I had lunch, and guess what? I got my crepe. It is called the Complet. It is a buckwheat crepe filled with brie, ham, mushrooms, topped with a dippy egg. It is, I don't know if it's the best thing I ate last year, but it's in the top 3. 100% that will be in the top 3 of my favourite things I ate in 2025. And it's going in my list for this year already because I just love it. It has just the right combination for me and it's delicious. This cafe, again, was quite busy. So all phone footage. I didn't have coffee because it was the afternoon and I want to sleep. I walked quite a lot today. So I'm hopeful I'm going to have a good night's sleep because I got all that fresh air, all those steps in. And I thought I'm not going to undo myself by having an afternoon coffee. So I got a raspberry lemonade. It was tart. It was refreshing. Loved it. I then went for a little mosey in the bookshop. There's a Blackwell's at Old Aberdeen. And my eye was captured by the classics collection. I hadn't read any of the classics that they had in the collection. And I thought, oh, I want to get them. But then I remembered, I am trying to only buy books when I complete a punch card. I don't think I mentioned my punch cards because I think I scrapped the video where I mentioned them. I've made punch cards. These are basically things I want to do this year. And every time I do them, I punch a hole. And when I have a completed card, I get a prize. The prize is I can buy myself a book. That's what I've decided I'm going to do. So that's why I didn't buy any books today, because I didn't have, how many was in that collection? I think it was like 5 or 6. I did not have 6 completed punch cards. I don't have any completed punch cards. But what the cards are is I want to go to independent coffee shops more often. Hence, I had a delightful coffee crawl today and I think that's something I really want to do more often. I have my in-person Pilates classes, because I really enjoy it and I'm not a sociable person generally, and it is nice to be out, and it's not really, I'm not being super sociable. I'm being sociable for like the 10 minutes before class, the 5 minutes afterwards, but it's really nice and it makes me feel nice. I want to do more face masks, but these are relaxing face masks, so no multitasking, sitting and just absorbing whatever I've chucked on my face. And considering the state of my skin today, you cannot really see it, but there is a giant crater on my chin, which there often is. I think I need a little bit more relaxing skincare, and I think relaxing is not a bad thing. More relaxing this year. I want to watch more movies because I did not watch enough films to get a letterbox wrapped in 2025. And that broke my heart. I was so jealous seeing everybody's wrapped. I only logged 8 films. So that's not a lot. Hence, I cancelled my Netflix subscription. I wasn't watching enough and I would rather have that money for something else. I want to do HIIT workouts. I really was enjoying them last year, so I want to keep enjoying them this year. And I want to do more strength workouts. HIIT and strength are for minimum of 20-minute classes. I do them at home. Just because it's nice to do something nice for my body. So yes, long-winded way of me saying why I didn't buy a book today. I haven't completed any punch cards. Then I read a little bit more when I was eating my crap. And now I'm home. I'm going to have just a nice cozy afternoon. I've got a couple of hours left before it's dinner time. So I'm going to, maybe I'll watch a film. Maybe I'll chuck on a face mask. Who knows? And I will finish this book and I will come back and I will tell you all about it. But I've had such a cozy day. I love this. More of this. I have now finished reading Heads Will Roll, and how giddy am I to have found another 5-star read, especially so early in the year. Friends, can we please welcome to my list of auto-buy authors, Josh Winning, because this is the third 5-star read I have had from this author, and my self-imposed auto-buy author rules are, once I have 3 5-star reads, onto that list you go. The last part of this book was just so thrilling. There is no better word to describe it than thrilling. There were twists galore and I genuinely felt like I knew who the slasher was. I knew who that axe wielding person was. I was wrong. If every single time I was wrong. I thought I knew who was chopping those heads off. Nope. I was kept guessing right up until the last 40 pages. The grand reveal. And even then, I read the reveal and I was like, oh, turned the page and was like, wait, what? I had to go back and was like, no, I didn't see it coming. I genuinely did not see it coming. And it made sense. Like, it all made sense. But I was like, no, that was probably the only person I had discounted as being the slasher. And I was wrong. I shouldn't really go into detective work. What I loved the most about this book wasn't that it was a fun slasher. It was a fun slasher. And it wasn't that it was an isolated setting, even though that is one of my favourite locations for a book, especially a horror. Cut those people off. Don't let them call for help. But for me, it was the characters. I loved them. The characters are what made this book so compelling. The characters are what made me not want to put this book down. I thought it was really cool that I didn't actually know anything about the characters' backstories. All I knew was what they shared openly at like fire circle time. Whatever they offered to the other characters, that's all I knew. Everyone's so guarded, so I didn't know that much and I still cared about them. Every single character in this book, perhaps with the exception of the taxi driver at the beginning, they were all using assumed names. They all got to use a fake name at the camp because the whole point of the camp was escaping your reality. It was to enjoy some anonymity and have some peace. Slowly, secrets were revealed and I was kicking my wee hooves. Loved that. But the secrets were revealed using the characters' real names. And because I didn't know who the characters were, neither did the other characters in the book, I didn't know who it was. I didn't know who these secrets related to. And I really enjoyed that. It was kind of like a puzzle. I found myself feeling like Charlie Day in It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia when he's got the whiteboard and the red string and it's just chaotic. That's how I felt. I was trying to piece this together and I was wrong every single time. I simply adored Juniper. She was my favourite character. She wasn't the main character, but she was my main character. She was an action and horror film actor from the 80s and 90s. Who had basically left the public eye. Nobody knew even if she was still alive. Sorry, the cat wanted in, so he's clawing at the door. Juniper was Willow's idol growing up, and I really loved being able to, fall in love with her myself reading the book. But I loved being able to see her through Willow's eyes, but also see her in reality and see how she lived up to being that childhood hero. She was kick-ass and take names, take no nonsense. Such a strong woman, and I love her and I want to be her when I grow up. There was also a really, really cool narrative surrounding cancel culture, which I thought was really impressive, as most of the characters were at the camp because of some form of cancellation. And I've read a lot, not a lot, I've read some books that do focus on cancel culture, but I felt this book did it really, I was going to say really much better. Really much better. It was really interesting to find out what they actually did and to consider, does the punishment fit the crime, or do people just like to dogpile? It really was kind of food for thought. It wasn't attacking people either. And the book didn't take the narrative of, oh, like, oh, boo, cancel culture. It wasn't like people shouldn't have to take accountability. It was like, yes, you have to take accountability, but is it helpful to anybody if the general public start dogpiling, harassing, threatening people who have done something that has warranted some sort of cancellation? And the things that these characters did, quite a lot of them, it's like they just made a stupid mistake, said something stupid, and for whatever reason, didn't take it back, didn't explain, like, oh no, I didn't mean that, I meant this. It really took the line of how some people sort of take it upon themselves to be like judge, jury, executioner and just be awful on social media. Like they have an excuse to do it because somebody messed up. So now you get to be horrible to them rather than like let them take accountability. Let them hold their hands up and make amends for what they've done. Don't harass them. I shouldn't have to say that. I shouldn't have to say don't harass people. We should all know that. It really made me think. So I have finished 2 books in this video, and the theme, accidentally, definitely not on purpose, was blood. Blood and coffee. That's my theme, and I'm okay with that. I have had the best time. This was such a delight for me, and I think I'm going to do this again. I really like the whole bunkering down in a cafe, reading some awesome books and just having a nice cozy time. Let me know if you've read either of these books, and thank you so much for watching. Bye!